appointment with yourself, tapping into the power of who you are. We have some new faces. Welcome. Thank you, Seth Pincus, our didgeridoo and sound healer, and accompanying me in the meditation. The didgeridoo is an aboriginal earth energy of sound. And as Seth breathes into it and hums the tune, the didge expands that out. The human voice is one of the most healing things that we have. And that's what sound healers utilize when they do that. And the drum is like our heartbeat. So there are two really powerful ways to accompany a meditation. So thank you, Seth, for giving us that space and opening sacred space for us. This is Karen White. She's my guest speaker for today. Karen is an extraordinarily gifted and multi-talented astrologist who practices in several different modalities. And she's going to be sharing with us one of her ways that she studies astrology today. That will be dovetailing into my topic today. And my topic today, so welcome Karen, thank you for being here. Let me pull the mic a little bit closer to you.
Okay.
And I realize this isn't the forum in Los Angeles where we need to use, but it's for the sound.
Okay.
So my topic today is, it's called Places, Everyone, taking your position. And the reason that it's so poignantly appropriate for today is many of you are probably aware of Ginger Lee, who is the owner of Ginger's Garden in Costa Mesa. Ginger crossed over on Thursday night. She's my age, she's 52 this year, and she had been trying to get well for an illness that she had since February of pneumonia. And being in a healing place, and being a healer herself, being surrounded by healers, one might ask of the irony of how such a thing could happen to someone so young who is surrounded by healers. And the answer, of course, is there are cosmic forces that are at work that is greater than what we can sometimes understand. Ginger has crossed over because clearly there's work for her to do in that dimension. And because we know that we exist in multiple dimensions, this isn't the only dimension, the third dimension. There are many, many different dimensions, and people work in different dimensions. And it is so natural for us to feel a sense of loss when someone crosses over because they're not in our dimension anymore. And it's as simple as the fact that I have a daughter who's going to be going away to college this fall. She isn't going to be living in our home anymore. I won't see her every day. I won't hear her rustling around and waking up early and making the dog bark at 6:30 in the morning and leaving a mess in the kitchen with her coffee grounds and all of her food. We won't be seeing her every day and hearing her and feeling her presence. But she's going to be away in a different place, forging her own future, in a dormitory up in Oregon. And that is really, if you take that microscopic view, that is really what happens when somebody crosses over. We simply don't feel their presence here every day in a third dimension anymore. We can't call them, and we can't reach out and physically touch them. But they have simply gone on to a place where they're doing work in a different level, in a different location, to forge forward with something that they need to do that was the perfect timing for them. We haven't lost Ginger. We are simply now missing her because she's no longer in our dimension, and she is, of course, in another place. The family, of course, grieves because they are closest to her and accustomed to seeing her every day, and so they have a great sense of loss. And so when someone crosses over, it is not for the person that we grieve, but for the family who must learn to do without seeing them every day. And they need our support and our love. I think many of us have lost someone somewhere along the way. But it is for our own self that we feel the lack of their presence. But if we can be in a place of joy to know where they've gone. And my husband's gone to get me some Kleenex. I think I'm good, honey. So, places, everybody. Everybody is taking their place. There is so much that is going to be happening over the next couple of years. This is the most amazing time to be alive and to be here and to be present in this way. I've been working with a group of 8 holistic healing practitioners in a mentorship program. Thank you. And as they have been stepping into their power, building their business cards, their websites, recognizing who they are as holistic healers, stepping forth into it, many of them are moving into different locations, from Los Angeles to Orange County. Some went from Orange County to the desert, some from LA up to Northern California. And it's like everybody is sort of like finding their place. We've been rehearsing, we've been learning, we've been growing. We've been moving through all the emotions that we need to start functioning in this place that is in this same area here, but without all the limiting thoughts. And so we're here, but now we're different. And everybody is stepping up and taking their place. And Ginger has simply moved to where her place is. So I'm going to ask you to go through and think about what changes have been occurring in your life. Many of you have been going through some large shifts. I know some of you personally, and I know many of you that have been going through some large shifts. And what I can tell you is to take comfort that there is order in chaos, that these shifts are not happening in a state of confusion and irrationality, but they're taking place for a purpose. There's a reason behind it. And you, at your soul level, understood this reason when you incarnated into this lifetime. And to a degree, pre-planned what you are experiencing. Or if you did not pre-plan it, it's necessary to get you on course for what you did pre-plan. Either way, know that there is order in chaos. And it's just like when you're walking and there are obstacles in your way and it feels like a struggle. And the moment that we remove those obstacles, then the path becomes clear and easy and gentle. If you're experiencing obstacles, it simply means we need to do a course correction to find out what it is and where it is that we're supposed to be going and doing. That is some agreement on some level. It also pulls in the energy of the earth, which Karen's going to be talking about with her discussion on astrology, because it is not only our contracts and our agreements and our decisions that affect where we go, but we are also part of a much bigger picture. And this is what astrologists endeavor to understand, is the larger energies at work with the billions and billions and billions of energies that make up the one, the greater one. And sometimes we have to follow through and go through and move through those energies. And there are times that they're shifting in some places and in others. And that's why we always say there are times to do things and time to not. And when we're going against the grain, that's when we experience difficulty and going uphill. And so we create an artful composition, a concerto, a syndication, a working together of the energies of understanding our path, the path of those around us, and the energies of the greater whole. And when we understand that and we surrender our own personal agenda, And every time we manifest, if we say something that is in the lines of, for the highest and best good of all, show me what this is all about. When we manifest just for our personal selves, I want that job, I need a new car, I need to have more money for this. The universe will endeavor to do that for us. But the universe has a much easier job when we manifest for the greater good of all. That's an easier scenario to create, because then there are multiple paradigms that we can shift into. As we manifest, it is not so much that we are molecularly creating something to be revealed in front of us, but simply we're allowing ourselves to exist in a paradigm and to shift into a paradigm where that reality exists. Because of course there are multiple paradigms. And as we grow and learn, and we see to appreciate the larger picture and how we simply are a beautiful and magnificent aspect of that larger picture, that what we want and our intentions count, but they also count towards the larger picture. And so when we set prayer, like we did during the meditation, that we set the intention that all living beings of creation live in peace, love, and joy. Think of how powerful that prayer is. And think of what that means, that our intention is not just for ourselves, but for that of everyone. This is what we are as human beings. The media and news and our culture, maybe even our parents, will tell us that, oh no, it's all about us. It's so important that we get the education and go and get the job, and that we take care of us, take care of family, take care of you, because no one else is going to take care of you. Any of your family or culture tell you that? How limiting that is. What if we woke up every day with the intention that we took care of everybody? I remember watching a movie years ago, and it was a revision of an Ebenezer Scrooge, and the woman was an elderly woman that ran a shop, and it was a female version of the Christmas Carol. And I remember this one scene where this African-American pastor was giving his sermon in church, and he was saying that the difference between heaven and hell was that there was this place in hell where everybody had all of this magnificent food in front of them, but the spoons were 3 feet long, longer than the length of anybody else's hand. And so it was impossible to take this spoon and feed yourself, because you simply couldn't get, you had to have your hand at the bottom of the handle, and you couldn't get the food in your own mouth. And so there was all this food in front of us and nobody could eat. But he said in heaven, we simply take that spoon and we realize we feed each other. And you take that spoon that's 3 feet long and you feed somebody else, and somebody else feeds you. And that's the difference between having everything in front of you that you can't get at, and everything in front of you that is easy to come. Because it comes from sharing, and it comes from taking care of each other. So if we take care of each other, we have everything in front of us and all the abilities to be able to take it in. Think globally, act locally. Set all of our intentions to be for everything, not only peace here on Earth, but in the galaxy wide. And that is taking into account the larger picture. Not only just on Earth, but all the other planets in our galaxy. I know that sometimes the topic of UFOs makes people sort of raise their eyes. You know, if you think of spaceships out there on the horizon, and maybe that's a little bit too woo-woo for some people, but let's just bring it down to a really practical level. There are 400 billion planets in the Milky Way. Isn't it logical that there is life on 400 billion planets in addition to the one here on Earth? And when you look at the space-time continuum, look at how much we've advanced in technology just in the last 100 years. And if some of those planets have been out there even 1,000 years longer than us, some of them have probably been there 10 and 20,000 years longer than us, wouldn't it make sense that they have the technology to travel across the galaxy at light speeds? And if they've got that technology, they're probably pretty highly evolved. And they are simply waiting for us to not be afraid to communicate with them. This is no different than when Columbus came and discovered the New World, and how trepidly they first approached the new natives who found them foreign and frightening. We are simply a new world that's being looked at with love and compassion from other galaxies. So when we say our prayer for our own Earth, that all living beings live in peace, love, and joy, can we not even extend that out to the galaxies beyond and say that every living being in all galaxies live in peace, love, and joy, expanding our thought process even beyond there, having the courage to go beyond ourselves, having the courage to say, if I take that spoon that's got 3 feet on it and I reach in and I scoop up some food and I give it to somebody else, I am trusting the fact that somebody is going to take that spoon in their hand and feed me. Or they'll feed my neighbor, who will in turn do it for me. It's trust. It's surrender and trust. Surrender, trust, and prayer. And for many of you, that's a little bit of a scary concept. And I know I went down this surrender and trust road kicking and screaming. It was not something that I just woke up one day and did easily. It was a process. So I acknowledge that that might not be easy for you in this moment for many of you, but I can promise you, be diligent, persevere, set the intention to surrender and trust and pray. And you will see a world unfold before you as beyond magical and beyond imagination. We have that power. We have that presence. It's who we are. It's what we are. Does anybody have any questions? Or anything they'd like me to personally address on that topic? No. You just sit over there and smile. It's the greatest wingman ever. So you're the greatest wingman. And thank you for my husband for always knowing to go and find me Kleenex. I'm the one up here that always cries. I can't help it. It's just so, what we're doing is so beautiful. I weep tears of joy at the idea of being able to have this information come through me and share it with you. I am so honored. So I'd like to turn it over to